Have you ever wondered if you're actually living up to your potential? Most people coast through life, operating at just 40% of what they're truly capable of. It's a shocking thought, but science backs it up. Our brains are wired to seek ease, which means we don't even scratch the surface of what we could achieve. When faced with a challenge, your mind often persuades you to play it safe, settle for what's easy, and avoid pushing boundaries. The result? You're living in a state of autopilot, making day-to-day choices that feel comfortable but rarely lead to growth. Goals seem out of reach because they demand more than the 40% we're used to. That's not about lacking talent or opportunity. It's simply the mind's way of staying within its comfort zone. Imagine how much you could achieve if you tapped into that extra 60%, the unused potential waiting to be unlocked. Think of athletes who push themselves to the edge, people who defy their limitations to reach extraordinary heights. They understand that true potential isn't realized by doing just what feels manageable. It comes from pushing against the mind's natural resistance. Yet it's not just about physical endurance, it's about mental resilience, that inner resolve to keep going, even when everything tells you to stop. Achieving this doesn't mean you need superhuman strength. It means developing discipline, motivation, and focus that overpower comfort's call. And the best part? Each small step beyond that 40% expands your capacity, creating new limits and revealing abilities you might not have known were even possible. We often let our goals shrink to fit our comfort zones, rather than stretching ourselves to match the real size of those goals. But the moment we become aware of this 40% threshold, we're already in a stronger position. Awareness of mental limitations is a powerful first step. It lets us see how we hold ourselves back by sticking with routines, by choosing easier paths, by saying good enough. Think of how different your life could look if you challenged yourself to rise above this, even by just 10%. Imagine the new skills you could develop, the experiences you'd have, the people you'd connect with. The potential is there, waiting for you to break through, to refuse the limit imposed by comfort. The path beyond this 40% might be tough, but that's where your dreams start to feel within reach. Each time you push a bit past this imaginary cap, you build not only new abilities, but a mindset of growth and resilience. This is about training the mind to endure discomfort, to expand its idea of what's possible. Mental resilience isn't just a buzzword, it's the very foundation of greatness. Your limits aren't set in stone. They're just habits your brain has clung to. Reaching beyond the 40% potential isn't about having more talent or luck. It's about embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. In the end, the question isn't whether you have the potential, it's whether you're willing to break the habit of settling, step out of autopilot, and start operating at a level that surprises even yourself. Ever feel like you're stuck in a loop, repeating the same actions, avoiding risks, and staying right where it feels safe? That's your mind working as a speed limiter designed to keep you within familiar zones, to avoid the discomfort that comes with growth. It's a natural tendency for the mind to lean towards security, to protect itself from the unknown, which often feels risky or unsettling. But this comfort zone is a silent limiter, keeping your growth in check and your potential unexplored. Just like a car with a speed cap can only go so fast, the mind, when bound by comfort, only allows you to achieve what feels manageable, leaving your true potential untouched. Breaking through this mental limiter requires developing discipline and resilience to withstand discomfort. Take, for instance, the way professional athletes push beyond their limits. They know that it's not just physical strength that needs training, but mental endurance, the ability to push through the pain and discomfort to reach new heights. This principle isn't just for athletes, it's for anyone with ambitious goals. When you step outside your comfort zone, your brain will resist. It will tell you to ease off, take it slow, or stop altogether. But this resistance is exactly where growth begins. The more you embrace the discomfort, the more resilient your mind becomes, and that resilience translates into true progress. You may not be aware, but even in small, everyday decisions, the comfort zone has a strong grip on you. Think about it. Avoiding challenging tasks at work, sticking to familiar routines, or making excuses to delay a difficult conversation. All these small habits are ways your mind keeps you in a safe bubble. And every time you choose comfort over growth, that speed limiter gets reinforced, training your mind to expect less from itself. By starting small, like taking on slightly more challenging tasks, trying new routines, or having those hard conversations, you signal to your mind that discomfort is acceptable, even necessary. Each small step you take chips away at that limiter, gradually expanding your capacity for resilience, focus, and mental endurance. Imagine the transformation once you commit to overriding this mental limiter. With each push beyond comfort, you gain access to new levels of capability and potential that once seemed distant. It's not about recklessness or pushing too hard. It's about deliberately choosing actions that stretch your limits. The key lies in reframing discomfort as a tool for growth rather than something to avoid. It's a shift in mindset, from seeing discomfort as a signal to stop, to seeing it as an invitation to go further. So the next time you feel that pull to stay safe, remind yourself that comfort is only holding you back. The true journey of growth begins just beyond it. Ever noticed how your mind seems to send out an all-stop alert right when you start feeling stretched, challenged, or uncomfortable? This reaction is your mind's way of keeping you safe, but it's also where your growth stops. Right at that threshold, when everything inside you says to quit, is where untapped potential lies waiting. It's not that you can't go further, it's that your mind, conditioned by years of staying within comfort zones, wants to stay in control. But this is precisely where real progress happens. That moment when you feel you've hit your limit, that's the exact moment you should dig in and push forward. By going beyond, you prove to your mind that it's capable of more, gradually training it to redefine its limits. Consider some of the most successful figures, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, who broke barriers because they didn't stop when it was tough. They pushed through it. Take a runner, for example. During intense training, there's a point where fatigue feels overwhelming. But seasoned athletes know that's the gateway to stronger stamina, better endurance, and greater performance. They're not ignoring their limits, but redefining them with each push. For anyone striving toward significant goals, whether it's building a business, improving health, or mastering a skill, this concept applies universally. By developing mental resilience and discipline to keep moving forward in these stop moments, you're essentially unlocking new levels of ability and focus. Each time you ignore that signal to quit, you chip away at the mental limitations holding you back. Pushing beyond doesn't mean ignoring your body's needs or recklessly charging ahead. Instead, it's about challenging your mental boundaries in manageable ways. For example, when working on a challenging project, set a timer and commit to 10 more focused minutes when you feel like you've had enough. Often those extra minutes are when breakthroughs happen. You'll start seeing that mental resistance not as a barrier, but as a sign you're on the brink of progress. Over time, your brain will adapt, no longer sending those stop signals so quickly, allowing you to operate at a higher level naturally. This is how you gradually build the discipline and focus needed to accomplish your biggest goals. Remember, growth doesn't happen in comfort, and it certainly doesn't happen if we retreat each time we feel resistance. When you learn to push past that initial discomfort, you start reshaping your own potential. This process makes you mentally resilient, capable of tackling bigger challenges, and more focused on what truly matters. It's this ability to keep going, especially when things get tough, that separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. So the next time your mind urges you to stop, recognize it as an opportunity. Take it as a cue to push further, to tap into the potential that only exists when you go beyond. This practice of surpassing your limits won't just get you closer to your goals, it will completely redefine who you believe yourself to be.